online. On the other hand, like the internet is full of data about people that a lot of times they didn't even publish themselves. So there's this question, especially in the European context, how does this play out in the search context, and especially what is the responsibility for search engines with regard to that private data. So Google at the moment, they have this kind of tool that you can use in the webmaster tools that you can, if you find your own credit card number online or your data, you can request them to remove it. And they will even do so in case you didn't take the original content down. So they will remove the information without you having like solved the problem with the actual site where the stuff is. This is one of the only cases where Google does that. But it becomes really interesting when search engines are getting more clever. They start to introduce facial recognition technology, which becomes available for the masses, and that really becomes this kind of like where should we draw this balance? I'm much in favor of actually the freedom to find the information that is present. I think this in the end should be more important, but the opinions really differ on this. So on the systemic legal issues, I saw that, let me see. Well, the search engine liability issue, that's basically what I was talking about with all these examples. It's the idea that you address a search engine and say, if you don't take this stuff down, you are liable for the damage that I have because people are finding this stuff so easily. No, it could be the owner of some kind of copyright saying like you have this link to that song and everybody can download it for free and I'm suffering damage. But it could also be Maradona in Argentina saying like there's all this stuff about me online that is illegal, you have to take it down, and this is like a search engine liability problem. The second problem, systemic problem in the search engine context is consolidation in the market. So recently Yahoo dropped being like, they just said we're not a search engine anymore, and they're starting to use the search engines, the organic search results from Microsoft, from Bing. And so what you see is with like less and less of these major search engines are left, and there's a big question where this kind of consolidation is going. Is maybe this is a natural monopoly, maybe we end up, because of economical reasons, we end up with one search engine, and that could have huge implications also for the freedom to find information, for the diversity of search results, because you wouldn't have an alternative anymore. So the third issue, like systemic issue, which is actually probably most mature, is user privacy. And I mean user privacy in terms of it's a problem of access to information as well. If you go to a library, you don't have a camera looking like at all the books that you read or all the everything that you access. No, and in the search context, this is actually the case. Like everything is registered, and like you make profiles. They can do all sorts of stuff with that. Governments, security agencies can access that kind of data very easily, and so this also could have a chilling effect on people's behavior. I asked my students one time, like, so what do you search for? Are you also feeling free to kind of look for more controversial information? Maybe you're interested in these child pornography laws, you know, because that is something we discuss because of like that is a topic in our institute, and a lot of them actually don't feel free to do that. They're afraid maybe their data ends up somewhere, and it's so that is the kind of chilling effect because they have this idea of like the registration of their information access behavior. The good thing actually is that already a lot of progress has been made in this sphere in Europe, and it's likely to continue. There's quite a push for better regulation in this field. The final systemic issue I wanted to talk about is publisher and webmaster control, and this is not something that is, I think, this is a bit maybe a bit more rare subject to discuss in this context, so I decided to do that. The idea is that search engines would kind of they would need permission to make stuff searchable. So library doesn't ask the author of a book whether or not they're allowed to put that book in the library, no? So there's kind of like this independent sphere, like where they decide, okay, this is our collection, and this we will make searchable, this we will make accessible. So in the search engine context, this is not the case. There's actually a really, really big push to make this even less the case. And the funny thing, if you talk about freedom of expression and like search engine freedom, the big driver for this push to make search actually more into kind of a permission-based model is the press. So an early case in this context is copypress in Belgium. And the idea was that Google needs permission from the publishers to make this news, what's new in this context is news, searchable. But there's other cases as well. For instance, in Germany, there's the idea of image search. There was a case about image search, and the idea is also the copyright holder in the image would have to give explicit permission to use those images to make them searchable. And search really becomes like powerful because of this full text search, no? You really have to index all the material and analyze it and like all this stuff that Google is doing that actually makes it a really useful service, and others are doing well, and there's still a lot of innovation in that field. So there's really this problem that like this model will start shifting because of this heavy industry pressure. And as you all probably know, the press is really suffering, no? And they have like this really heavy like lobbying effort at the moment to get money from all over the place, and they're trying to get some money, of course, from Google. I put Google here because that is like their main target also in Europe. So the idea would be like, you probably know robots.txt, which is this tool that you can instruct search engines to stay away from certain parts of the website. So this was introduced in, like, I think 93, 94, and the idea is like you just show this stuff is not suitable at all to be searchable, so just stay away from there. So like later on there were all this really great, like a kind of funny proposal to extend that model because it's really powerful idea. So like people were starting to discuss audience.txt, like you could define the suitable audience for the content. And people had this idea of kids.txt, and you could like do all this kind of child protection instructions. But the idea has been also pushed by the industry, the press industry, and they're starting to use this much more granular type of robots.txt file, and it has. So the idea behind it is probably like what I see happening is it like you see a direction into some kind of like micro-licensing tool, no? And you really get this extension into this permission-based search model. So the problem is that the European Commission has not, which is actually the place where some change should happen. They should modernize our laws. They have recently published a green paper that addresses this issue but leaves it unresolved, and even leaves a lot of room actually for this shift to a permission-based model to happen. Like there's a footnote that is discussing this idea that if